let's take an honest look at the Florida State Seminole football program. Now, some of you watched the video yesterday. We were live on air. We're riffing about some of the top teams in the ACC. I said NC State is North Carolina. I said Clemson. It should go without saying Florida State is one of the top programs in the ACC. So that's out there now. That is 1,000% something that I feel strongly about, because since Mike Norvell has gotten there, they have been doing things the right way. I said it before. I'll say it again. Usually, whenever something is fixed, what do they tell you? Whether it's pipes, whether it's an electronic device, they tell you, turn it off, turn it back on. It should be fixed now. Just got to let it run a little bit. Just let it run a little bit, get all the bad out, get the good process in. You should be good to go. That's what's been happening now for the last 3 seasons at Florida State under Mike Norvell. When he got there, it was fixed more or less. From the top, it was fixed. And then it had to take a while to filtrate down to the bottom. All right? Filter down to the bottom. Don't know if filtrate's a word. Infiltrate its way into the bottom. So, the internal over external approach. All the great coaches do it. Kirby does it. Nick Saban does it. I'm not saying Mike Norvell is either of those coaches, but I am saying the approach and the way that he talks about his football program, I think, should be very, very encouraging for where Florida State is headed. Because great CEOs, great business people, great creators, whatever it is, you focus on the process. You don't worry about the results. You don't worry about winning 10 games. Now, heck, you're not mad that you did it this year, but you had a 10-game process in place. You had a winning 10-game kind of culture. Taking that next step, I think, is going to be crucial for Florida State, but they're doing it the right way. The other thing we got to talk about, you've been paying attention to the transfer portal? You've been paying attention to what's been going on in Tallahassee? According to On3, have the number 3 transfer portal class. That's going to change. I would expect them to actually move up. They landed Jaheim Bell. They just landed Fentrell Cypress, who is one of the top players in the transfer portal, according to us here at On3. Things are really good right now in terms of getting guys that have options to go other places to Tallahassee. And Jaheim Bell's recruitment, I think, is a microcosm of where this program was to where it's come from. Because Jaheim Bell, a guy that it sounds like had a lot of interest in going to Florida State out of high school. But when they asked him why he didn't go out of high school and why he's transferring in now, it's because, hey, quite honestly, the program wasn't at a place to where it would help me in the long run. Whether my heart was at Florida State or not, it didn't matter. The program wasn't in a competitive space to develop me and to get me to where I wanted to go and to have the success that I wanted to have on the football field. Well, you fast forward the tape, Mike Norvell comes to town, start winning some ball games, and now Tallahassee already had the branding, but Florida State is now becoming more and more a destination for players with options like a Jaheim Bell and like a Fentrell Cypress. Whatever you want to get done, you now feel a lot better about getting it done at a place like Florida State. Really quickly, if you haven't yet subscribed, y'all, now's the time. National title game here in a few short days. Nick Brake and I going to be there. When that clock hits 000 in SoFi Stadium, we are going to continue to do this 12 months out of the year. College football is that way, so we cover it accordingly. 2022 for Florida State, in my mind, was very much a set-the-table kind of year. You got over 8 wins, actually got 10 wins. 8 wins was kind of the mark you were looking at preseason for Florida State. Surpassed that. Huge, huge year. Now, here's the reality. This year can mean as much as they want it to mean next year. Like if Florida State goes and wins 7 games next year, you look and say, well, then 2022 was just a great year, and we were happy to have that. But they could use this year, in my opinion, as a jetpack year. Because you got your quarterback coming back in Jordan Travis, who has taken enormous strides forward, has made a believer out of me in what he is now at Florida State, both being a passer and a runner, and just an overall catalyst and leader of this football program. You have an ACC that is, for my money, going to be vicious. But where Florida State sits, I think it's pretty winnable. I don't say they're going to just waltz through their schedule and be good to go, but you look at Florida State this year, they were close. They were very close against 3 good ranked football teams. That's all they have to their name in terms of the losses. So they're very, very close. They're beefing up in the transfer portal, and they have a chance to make some noise. North Carolina is going to be good with Drake May. Question marks on defense. Clemson, you always know what they're bringing to the table, but they lose some key pieces, have a new quarterback. There's still some wait and see there. You look at NC State. Maybe they're getting Brennan Armstrong. Maybe they're not. I'm sure they'll be a good program, but I feel good about Florida State stacking up next to all of those. So you hear what I'm saying here. For Florida State, you have a really tremendous opportunity to build on this momentum and cash in. When money's on the table, you cash in. And money, based on the 2022 season for Florida State, they're able to now cash in. And you worked so hard as Mike Norvell and everybody involved with this Florida State program to get to this platform, right? You worked out of the 5-7 season. You worked out of the COVID season. You've been grinding and getting to this place to where Florida State is now a relevant national power. It's now right on the edge of becoming a national power. Here's what I would say. In 2023, you got to jump. You climbed the stairs. You did it the hard way. You did it through the portal. You got to jump. Because with the way that the state of Florida is shaping up, you have two savage recruiters, Billy Napier, Mario Cristobal. They're going to recruit their tail off. Picture this, though. The year one juice for both those programs, I think, is real. But picture a world where Florida State wins 11 games next year. Picture a world where Florida State becomes a New Year's Six bowl team next year. If you want to get crazy, maybe it's not that crazy, but if you want to get super ambitious, picture a world where Florida State makes the college football playoff next year. Well, all of a sudden, the good folks and all the talent that resides at the high school level in the state of Florida starts to feel a little bit differently about picking between Florida State, Miami, and Florida. Now, I'm not knocking Florida and Miami, but I'm just saying for Florida State, they are in pole position right now as the best team in the state of Florida. And to take a step forward, to take that next tier up for them as a program and win more games next year, I think that would be the ace in the hole for them. I think that would be a tremendous weapon on the recruiting trail, and I think would really just get that ball rolling downhill. That, to me, would be the equivalent of them taking that leap forward. Because the reality is, next year for Florida State is very much so a, hey, what are we kind of year. The metaphor I use is dating. Sounds weird, but roll with me. Winning 9 games, winning 10 games, that's awesome. It's like dating. It's fun. It's exciting. It's a little bit new, given the sample size of the last 2 years under Mike Norvell. It's awesome. You have no issues with winning 10 games. It's great. You're all about it. However, there comes a point where dating is sort of a been there, done that kind of thing. It's a point where, yeah, this is great, but I don't want to stay dating forever. At some point, I want to put a ring on it. And I think for Mike Norvell and company, they have worked so hard to get it to this point, and just the nature of modern college football with the expectations with NIL and with the transfer portal, that Florida State has done really well, actually, in the transfer portal, like we already told you. This is a, hey, let's put a ring on it kind of year. Let's win the ACC kind of year. And I think that's really crucial to capitalize, like I said, on the momentum. But 2023, in my opinion, is venturing into that let's put a ring on it territory. But Florida State is headed the exact right direction. I wholeheartedly believe in Mike Norvell and his process, internal over external. We're going to work on us until we worry about anything on the scoreboard. I am very, very excited to see what they do for an encore next year. It is really fun to see Florida State be once again relevant on the national level, and to see them have worked so hard to get to this point and to now reap some of the fruits of their labor. It's good for college football. Not that it was bad for college football when they weren't playing well, or college football wasn't fun when they weren't playing well. I'm just saying I like college football better when the Noles are playing good ball, and we talk about them every Saturday playing big games. That's fun to me, all right? So this is the year now for Florida State. This can be the jetpack year. It can mean for them as much as they want it to. The table has been set in 2022 for Mike Norvell. It's time to go look for some jewelry. We appreciate you tuning in. This has been the Hard Count. Nick, Bright Lifting Heavy, y'all. I'm JD Pickell. Follow me on the socials at JD Pickell on Twitter and Instagram. But also, first and foremost, make sure you are subscribed to this channel. We go live on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 1 Central, 2 Eastern. Get the live chat rolling. Want you in there. We have a lot of good time. We get to interact in there. It's a lot of fun. So make sure you're locked in there. We appreciate you in advance. We're going to keep the party rolling, and we will see y'all next time. Hey, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.